want some sauce?
Scene 1, Apple, take 1.
So I've got an onion here, and we're going to take the tops and the bottoms off. This is enough onion right here, okay? And we are going to end up using an immersion blender a little bit later, so we don't really have to worry too much about these onions being super fine, because we'll be cutting them up in the immersion blender a little bit later. We have our garlic here. I'm going to just set it here. Take the peel off, and pretty much the same thing. I'm just going to end up kind of rough chopping this. I think I'm actually going to put one more clove in here. That's probably good for the garlic. Going to be taking a little pot here, putting some olive oil inside of it, throwing the onions in, but not the garlic. We're going to go ahead and saute this. And sauteing, sweating, all that other good stuff. Basically, it's just how much you're going to cook it, as well as what temperature. This right here is at medium heat. I'm just trying to get these to basically turn semi-opaque or semi-transparent. Some people will say translucent. Whatever floats your boat. But I want these to be slightly cooked to take some of that raw onion flavor out. I put a little bit of salt in here, not a whole hell of a lot. I'm going to put some fresh ground black pepper in here. Of ground coriander, not a lot. In goes our garlic. Same thing, we want the edge to come off of that garlic. So just a minute or so. We don't need to leave it in there too long, because we definitely don't want to brown that. And when I say brown, I mean burn. Just a touch red pepper flakes to give it just a little bit of something. Touch of oregano. This is basil. We'll put a little bit of that in there. This is chicken broth. This is fresh thyme from the garden. Parsley. Little paprika. If you want to, you could just put bell pepper inside here for the paprika. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm putting a little bit of bell pepper inside here, which is essentially paprika. And I apologize for the noise in the back. It's my dishwasher. Always got something washing. Maybe a third of a stick of butter. If you want to, you can put cream in here instead. You don't have to put cream. It's just, milk. But and of course the star attraction, tomatoes. Rinse out a little bit of this with water. I'm going to do an initial taste to see salt content, pepper content, and then I need to add sugar to this because tomatoes are pretty acidic, and a lot of times you got to add a little bit of sugar. Not all the time, but usually. This is a regular granulated sugar. It's probably going to be enough. Black pepper, a little bit of salt, and I don't want to go overboard right now with the seasoning, because as this cooks, the flavor is going to change a little bit. I just want to kind of have a good starting base. I've decided to do one more thing. I'm going to put a small bay leaf or two inside here. I'll just have to fish those out before I start grinding it all up. Okay, so at this point I'm starting to see some bubbles. I'm going to turn this down, and this is about low, medium low, and I'm just going to let this set here and cook for quite a while. Okay, so this has been cooking for a while. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to find those bay leaves, try to get them out of there if I can find them, which I should be able to. And from here I'm going to take the immersion blender. Sometimes people call it a stick blender. Okay, there's one of them. Okay, so this is a pretty good consistency right here. If you wanted to add cream to this right now, you can. I need to take a taste of it and verify sugar, salt, pepper, etc. Put a little bit more basil in here. Okay, that tastes really good. It's rich. It's very rich. All you have to do is anything else you want to add to this, you just end up frying it and then you throw it in the sauce. So if you have some Italian sausage, just fry it up, crumble it up, throw it in the sauce. You're golden. Fry up some mushrooms, cut them up, throw them inside here, you're golden. Get some ground beef, fry it up, once again, throw it in here, you're golden. And that's pretty much all you got to do, but this is the good base for it. Let me give you an example. Well, we're just going to fry up some beef, break it up a little bit, put the sauce, mix it with there, we'll be good. And then we'll put it on some pasta, and you'll see. So we got a little bit of onion inside there, touch of olive oil, we don't need a whole hell of a lot. With just some ground beef, we're going to just kind of break it up. We're going to put it in here with the onions. You don't have to do the onions first or nothing like that. If you want to, you could use Italian sausage. Just break it up, throw it in here. Little ground black pepper. A little bit of salt. This is just a little fresh thyme. You can always put more if you want. A little bit of parsley. So what we would do is we just cook this for a while. After everything became brown and after the onions became translucent, we'd say, there we go. And then we would add the sauce to this. Let's say you say, oh, I think I want to do the Italian sausage. Not a problem. This is what's known as fennel seed. Take a little bit of fennel seed, throw it in there. Touch of ground coriander. Don't need a lot. A little bit more. This is ground thyme. I'm going to put a little bit of ground thyme in it. This is sage. Ground sage, a little bit of garlic powder. If you want it to be a sweet sausage, you can add a little bit of brown sugar to it. You want it to be spicy? You want this to be a spicy sausage? Not a problem. We're going to add a little bit of cayenne pepper to it. This is some ground cayenne pepper. We pretty much end up having sausage flavor. I'm going to be throwing in the pasta now into the boiling water. And now what we could do is we could just pour a little bit of our sauce in there, mix the two, and then there would be our Italian sausage ragu sauce. That's really all there is to it. I know you might be saying, well, that looks a little orange. Yeah, it looks a little orange because I ended up using the immersion blender. If I wouldn't have used the immersion blender and I would have just crushed it by hand, or I used a potato masher, it would have stayed red. You end up cooking the noodles until they're what's called al dente. Tooth, basically, has some bite to it. This is whole grain, so it takes a little bit longer. It's probably going to take a couple more minutes, but then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out, I'm going to throw it in this, and it's going to finish cooking in the sauce. The sauce is going to absorb also inside the pasta. Then it's going to start looking almost as if we don't have enough sauce. So at this point, I'm going to take my pasta and I'm going to put it inside here. And I don't care about getting pasta water in here. In fact, the pasta water is going to end up helping a little bit. Okay, for the amount of sauce that I've got, this is a good amount of pasta because it's going to absorb a lot of it. It only takes about 5 minutes for it to really absorb a lot of the sauce. On top of it, I use the grated Parmesan to make it look a little bit more authentic. People always want you to garnish it, so here, I'll garnish it just for the sake of saying that I did it. There, we got 3 pieces of basil. That's our garnish. It is what it is. I don't even know why people do that. They always say, hey, we're going to do this to add color. Grate a crayon over it, you know. But that is that, guys. That's how you go about making your own ragu sauce. I know they got prego, right? They got ragu. They got all these things. And essentially, it's all the same. Actually, you know, if you ended up adding a little bit of cream to this and then doing it, it's almost a hamburger helper too, like a lasagna hamburger helper, because if you added cheese to it. But anyway, guys, that is that. Maybe about 30 minutes my wife will be home, and then she'll be able to try this. And till next time, I'll talk to you later.